A very good evening and welcome to the 8 p.m. news broadcast brought to you by Eswatini TV. My name is Nondobego Zabgelwago and I am together with Zama Nzimanze. Let's take a look at tonight's headlines. The distribution of Dingoons exercise took place in schools for the disabled. The Deputy Prime Minister says it is the duty of his office to make follow-ups and monitor the lives of children living in foster care. Government has wished the best to all pupils writing their external examinations this month, starting with Form 5s who started writing yesterday. The news in detail. The distribution of Dingoons exercise took place in schools for the disabled. Imbali leader Nonduduzo Zubugo says all Madians in the kingdom belong to their majesties and their majesties love them equally.
During the distribution of Dingoons exercise in chiefdoms, it was noticed that disabled Madians were left out. So a decision was taken that they also deserved to get the gift from their majesties. The distribution task team then visited the School for the Deaf Primary and High Schools in Sitegi and the St. Joseph's Primary and High School for the distribution of the meat. The gifts are usually received by Madians on the last day of the Umhlanga ceremony. But then, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, the Umhlanga ceremony did not take place this year. However, because of the love their majesties have for the future generation of the country, they decided to give the gifts to the Imbali.
Niyakwati ke lokho ukuthi sikhuluma ngani nasithi intombi kayihlale ngentombi angithi ithi ngiphatheni kahle emakhosana ngithanda ngingabona umhla noma kungakumhlanga kungabi ube mncane umhlanga loba khona but athi asitekini sitonikhumbuta ukuthi nemqoka kanganani nini emakhosini ingabona umhla ke silana ukuthi hlalani ngentombi diphatheni kahle kude lokuphelako konke kunesikhathi siyevala kubekani mhlehle ngoba emakhosini ayanithanda kungakona namuhla anibambiza tinkunzi lapho nikhona khona nalokunye ke ukuthi asilenzelele ukuhlobo betempilo bathi lo ngafunzi akahlale ekhaya angithi niyabona ngaphelelwa nanani akahlale ekhaya bathi faka nemamas tifono kezanitandla ngemantini lana sipo la hambako siyevala kumtoka ukuthi sihlale nemakhaya ngoba emakhaya siyawuphepha corona siphephe netinkumbi.
Imbali leader Nonduduzo Zubugo pleaded with the Imbali to stay pure and stay away from trouble. On the news, I'm Pulile Mazia with Tabiso Dlamini at St. Joseph's in Manzini.
We will now take a look at a statement from the Prime Minister's office. On behalf of His Majesty King Mswati III, Her Majesty the Queen Mother, and the government and the people of the Kingdom of Eswatini, as well as on his own behalf, Prime Minister Ambrose Dlamini has expressed Eswatini's sincere and heartfelt congratulations to the President of the United Republic of Tanzania, John Magufuli, the government and the people of Tanzania for the President's second term resounding victory in the presidential elections held on the 28th of October 2020. The Prime Minister says it is Eswatini's hope and prayer that the cooperation that happily exists between the Kingdom of Eswatini and the United Republic of Tanzania will be strengthened as they fulfill their mandate of attaining the aspirations of the people of the two countries, and to further wish President Magufuli and the people of the United Republic of Tanzania peace and prosperity. The Deputy Prime Minister Themba Masuku says it is the duty of his office to make follow-ups and monitor the lives of children living in foster care homes, as well as enact laws that will protect children living in foster care. The Deputy Prime Minister's office was presenting these programs to Senate Portfolio Committee.
The Deputy Prime Minister's office presented to the office's Senate Portfolio Committee on foster parenting and laws and legislations currently in place by the office to monitor the lives of children living in foster care homes. Currently, Eswatini has foster care home and only one is government-owned. Part of the reasons that led to an increase in the number of children living in foster care homes is child abuse, violence at home, and children who were dumped by their parents at an early age. The Deputy Prime Minister Temba Masuku says they want to track and monitor the lives of these children wherever they are living in order for them to have a bright future.
But the system lesithi asiqinise ngileleta ukwathi ukuthi nase simtholile lo mntwana sikhona kumbika appropriate bese nangabe mhlambe simtholela kubo bus rank bese siyakhona siyombika kulongane lifa bese uthi cha hambani lona nimnika umntwana inkosi magudulela atomkhulisi.
He says most of them do not have birth certificates nor IDs and some do not even know their surnames. The Senate President Lindiwe Dlamini applauds this initiative by the Deputy Prime Minister's office.
Every human being has a need for love, has a need for acceptance, has a need for belonging. When that is absent in a person's life, kuba ne dysfunctionality leba khona. Namuhla, the family structure is under attack.
Children are protected under the Children Protection and Welfare Act of 2012 in Eswatini. Senators were given an insight of Section 39 of this act. I am Kian MCB for Eswatini TV News, Mbabane.
Government has wished the best to all pupils writing their external examinations this month, starting with Form 5s who started writing yesterday. The best wishes were sent by the Minister of Education and Training, Lady Howard Mabuza, today. Government says pupils should study all material given to them by their teachers.
COVID-19 changed the way society operated, including schools. This called for the closure of schools. However, Standard 5s, Form 3s and Form 5s later resumed class. It is now time for the writing of final examinations, with Form 5s having started yesterday. Government, through the Minister of Education and Training, Lady Howard Mabuza, has wished pupils the best as they sit for their exams.
Government wishes all the best to all students writing the external examinations this month, starting with the Form 5s who started writing their examinations yesterday. They should study hard and cover all material pertaining their studies, including the lessons that were broadcast on radio and TV and carried in newspapers. Indeed, hard work leads to success.
This year was trying to many due to COVID-19 and pupils were not spared. Government says pupils should forget about those trying times and concentrate on getting good marks. Government also had a message for parents.
To parents, please support your children as they navigate this chapter of what has been a challenging year. Please show great interest in their work.
Government also applauded teachers who it said have excelled in the responsibility of being entrusted with the lives of pupils during school hours, especially in ensuring that they observed COVID-19 regulations while continuing uninterrupted with their lessons. For Eswatini TV News, Temgos Mavimbela, Mbabane.
Members of the public will now be able to access identity cards, passports, and certificate services at the Home Affairs offices in all 4 regions of the country. This comes after a decision by the Ministry of Home Affairs to reopen the issuance of these documents after it was stopped due to COVID-19.
The outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, the Ministry of Home Affairs stopped the issuance of IDs, passports and certificates at regional level in order to minimize the spread of the virus. Members of the public who had to travel all the way to Mbabane to access these at certain days. The Undersecretary in the Ministry of Home Affairs, Arnold Dlamini, says they have once again opened the issuance of these at their regional offices.
On Mondays, we will work on late registrations and marriage clearances. while on Tuesday we will work on change of surnames, alterations of certificate, and late IDs enrollment or replacement. On Wednesdays, we will help those citizens who are interested in late marriages registration and conversion of old or manual certificates. While on Thursday, we will work on certified certificates replacements and late third registrations. On Friday, we will issue all services that have been rendered, or it's more like a collection of any service that you have applied during the week. And lastly, on the same day, on Friday, we will work or help those who are interested in getting marriage certificate.
Dlamini says this does not affect refugees, but only those who would like to renew their stay in the country, then they will be able to. For those who would want to apply for visas, they will be given those visas depending on the state of COVID-19 in the country they are going to. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Kian Msibi, Mhlambanyatsi.
The Eswatini Examinations Council says the first external examinations of the Form 5 and Grade 7 classes of 2020 was successful under the new circumstances presented by COVID-19. This was said by the Eswatini Examinations Council Registrar, Dr. Edmund Mazibuko.
On Monday, examinations for the Form 5 and Grade 7 class of 2020 got underway. The Registrar of the Examinations Council of Eswatini, Dr. Edmund Mazibuko, says despite the current situation, the integrity and quality of the examinations will not be affected. Mazibuko says the council is ready to assist people who might contract COVID-19 in terms of making arrangements on how they can proceed with their exams.
On the first day of the exams, very, very positive. We went out to check, how these exams, have started, and we were very satisfied with the manner in which they conducted in the schools that we checked, and so excited that the exams have started on a very, very positive note, and we're actually pleased to get even the feedback from the students on their first exam, which clearly indicates that the students were prepared for the exams or are prepared for the examination, that they've worked hard, they've studied, and that their teachers have also prepared them well for the exam. So we want to encourage them to continue to work hard so that they do well in the exam. COVID-19 has affected our working schedule. We've noticed that the exams are now written at a later date. They were postponed to this time of the year. This will be the case also with the marking of the exams. We will now mark the exams a little bit later. So this will also affect the release of the results.
The registrar says they will ensure that results for all external examinations are released on time next year to allow people to register for places in their schools of choice. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Temalangi Dlamini Muslim Konda, Ezulwini.
The Eswatini National Agricultural Union says it is important for farmers in the country to play their role in contributing towards the country's economy, especially during this period of COVID-19. This was said by the Eswatini National Agricultural Union President, Boy Mate, in a meeting that was held at the Happy Valley Hotel in Zulwini.
The Eswatini National Agricultural Union held a meeting with farmers from different areas in the country to talk about issues affecting the agriculture sector and ways in which farmers can contribute to improving the country's economy. The president of the Eswatini Agricultural Union, Boy Mate, says there are a lot of activities farmers can do to improve the economy as they play a crucial role in providing reliable food supply, income and employment.
Nathi sibe sesiyafunza lamaphutha amaningi ukuthi nakunje ufuna kubonana ukuthi ngiliphi ichaza lengadlalwa ngumlimi emnothweni kuleli ikakhulu kwemanje kulesimo lesisikhona khona nje lesi sokuthi live leshe kakhulu emave onke emhlaba simo asisole sihle lokungajabulisi kahle umlimi isikhathi esiningi uyayabuka asebenza kuseweyalima kepha na inzuzo ibonakala ingekho ngesikhathi umlimi angazuzi nelive lisazuzile lutho lapho so ngitho tonke into lesidibukayo leto ukuthi umlimi angabenefita njani kulokula kwenta akuguqule kwebhizinisi kuze ukuthi live nalokuzuza lapho.
The Ministry of Agriculture encourages farmers in Eswatini to be part of agricultural activities as agriculture brings growth and economic development in all countries around the world. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Temalang Ndlamini with Muslim Konda, Ezulwini.
Women in Law in Southern Africa on Tuesday held a women's convention with women of the Shiselweni region to discuss issues of strengthening women's rights and enhancing women's political participation in Eswatini. This was highlighted by the organization's national director, Zanele Tabete.
In 2018, Women and Law held its first Women's Convention on setting a 5-year women's agenda in Parliament aimed at assisting parliamentarians to focus on key issues identified as critical areas for inclusion of women and men in all areas of life. The National Director for Women and Law, Zanele Tabete, says some of the key issues are education, sexual and reproductive health rights issues, and legal and justice issues.
We were able to depict the pictures of what women go through at community level and at national level. Some of those things might include sexual reproductive health issues when it comes to young girls and the tools they need in order to be able to facilitate a healthy sexual reproductive health. Other issues include having women in positions of leadership at national level as well as community level. Government of Eswatini has been able to work on some of the issues that were raised in 2018. One example could be of the education system.
The U.S. Ambassador Lisa Peterson says they are happy to see the commitment that the government shows in assisting organizations which advocate for women's rights. Peterson says the passing of the Sexual Offences and Domestic Violence Act of 2018 shows that they are being listened to.
It's harder to get your issues brought to the attention of decision makers if you don't have a place at the table. And so the best goal is to really get yourself into those places where decisions are being made. Short of that, until you can get to that point, you have to actively lobby and get those positions made known.
Member of Parliament of the Shiselweni region, Nokuthula Dlamini, urged women of Shiselweni to join elections and assist each other in other positions of leadership.
But nangabe labo make bakhona balithandana lapha eParliament bayakhona bese bayasupportana bayasekelana sesiyaphumelela leso sikhalo sabomake.
Speaking at the convention, Member of Parliament of Manzini South, Thandi Nxumalo, encouraged women to not look down at each other when one of them... Member of Parliament of Manzini South, Thandi Nxumalo, encouraged women to not look down at each other when one of them needs any form of help in their business avenues and otherwise. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, Sifiso Nxumalo with Muva Shongwe, Natik.
The National Malaria Program team in the country has started an initiative whereby people in all parts of the Kingdom of Eswatini will be educated about the malaria disease. The National Malaria Program Deputy Program Director, Zulisile Mtimkulu, says it is important for all Emaswati to engage in activities that reduce the burden of malaria in the country.
Southern African Development Community countries this week are commemorating the SADC Malaria Week, whereby awareness is raised about the disease. The National Malaria Program team in the country has started an initiative of training volunteers on malaria issues who will then educate people in different communities in the country about the life-threatening disease. The Deputy Program Director, Zulisile Mthimkhulu, says it is important for everyone in the country to contribute to Eswatini's goal of eliminating and ensuring Eswatini is malaria-free.
Currently training community volunteers from Red Cross and from community mentor mothers, which are an arm of the Ministry of Health. They help us disseminate information. So from capacitating these cadres, we are positive we will be able to reach out to the communities. We will be doing door-to-door information dissemination, whereby they will disseminate information on malaria prevention, on malaria health seeking, and also other behavioral change based on malaria. In the past, we used to know malaria is the disease of the Lubombo region, but we also seen cases coming from Hoho region, from areas like Bomhlangatane, Nyakapo, Hereford, Nyonyane. We also see cases coming from Manzini region. Interestingly, areas like Mkiweni, Inkundla, Tsimleni, Bozandondo, we have seen cases coming from there. And Lubombo, we still see cases coming from the region as well.
The Kingdom of Eswatini is one of 21 countries globally with the potential to achieve the global target of eliminating malaria by the end of 2020. 58 people were found to be infected with malaria this year from the month of July to the month of October. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Temalang Ndlamini with Muslim Konda in Manzini.
The Crown has proceeded with parading more witnesses in the Sipo murder trial at the High Court today. Some of the paraded witnesses included Registrar of Companies Msebe Malinga and Eswatini Revenue Authority's Customer Operational Policy Director Precious Chauya. The matter is before Judge Ngosnathi Masego.
The first witness on the day was the Registrar of Companies Msebe Malinga, who led his oral evidence. Malinga told the court that part of his duties was examining and vetting of companies received in his office. He said he was also the custodian of all registered companies and ensured their safekeeping. He provided information on two companies, that is, VTRAC Investments and Office Buddies Investments. Malinga told the court that VTRAC had two directors, one of whom is Sipo Dumsani Shongwe. The company's directors have 50-50% shareholding of the company. Malinga also informed the court that Office Buddies also has two directors whose names are Vuyiswa Ngobile Siaya Shongwe and Sylvia Manyatsi. He then handed in the two company registration files to the court as part of evidence in the Sipo Shongwe murder trial. Second to take the stand was Eswatini Revenue Authority Customer Operational Policy Director Precious Chauya. Chauya said her duties included overseeing payments made at points of entry. This witness told the court that SRA deals with the declaration of goods at points of entry. She submitted that the company also collected road toll at borders. Chauya testified that they had a system which managed declarations and payments to customs at entry points. At the time of compiling this report, Chauya was still on the stand. She was followed by another witness who also gave her testimony. The matter is expected to continue tomorrow. For Eswatini TV News, Temgos Mavimbela with Patizwe Msibi, High Court.
We will now take a look at the COVID-19 update. The Ministry of Health has reported 13 new confirmed COVID-19 cases in the country in the last 24 hours. In a statement issued by the Ministry of Health, a total of 440 results were received today, out of which 13 tested positive for coronavirus, which brings the total number to 5,942. The statement shows that there are 143 active cases, 5,669 recoveries, 117 deaths, and 13 have been registered for care. Looking at the cumulative confirmed COVID-19 cases by region, Manzini region has 2,664 cases, Hoho region has 2,252 cases, Lubombo region has 532 cases, while Shiselweni region has 494 cases. We will now take a look at our sports news. Sitebe Samhlekazi is off to a flying start as they came from 2 goals down to beat Comoros Islands by 4 goals to 1 in the first game of the Women's COSAFA Cup. The game was played at Wolfuson Stadium in Nelson Mandela Bay in South Africa.
Sitebe Samhlekazi came to the game against Comoros with big hopes of getting maximum points, considering that Comoros conceded 35 goals in the last year's tournament. But when the game started, it was Comoros who took the game to Eswatini and they scored first before the half-time. In the second half, it was again Comoros who scored first, taking a 2-goal lead. Eswatini did not stop fighting though, as Phumzile Dlamini pulled one back from a free kick. Dinanile Ngampalala found the equalizer. Mokhaleni Jabliso scored the 3rd goal that saw Eswatini take the lead for the first time in the game. Phumzile ensured Eswatini take all the points with his 2nd goal and fought for Eswatini in injury time. Eswatini won the game by 4 goals to 2. After the game, the coach said they're now looking forward to their next game.
We are going to try. It's going to be a difficult game. It was a difficult game, even this one. South Africa is going to be even more difficult, but we are going to try. We are going to come up with a plan. We are going to come up with a strategy to contain them and, if possible, break them down.
Eswatini will take on South Africa on Friday, and their last game will be against Angola for the group stages. The winner of the group will also go through to the next stage. Reporting for Eswatini TV Sport News, I am Patizo Msibi, and pictures sourced from COSAFA TV.
We've now come to the end of our news bulletin. But before we wrap up, let's take a quick recap of the headlines. The distribution of Dingoons exercise took place in schools for the disabled. The Deputy Prime Minister says it is the duty of his office to make follow-ups and monitor the lives of children living in foster care. Government has wished the best to all pupils writing their external examinations this month, starting with Form 5s who started writing yesterday. Eswatini, that is all the news we had for you tonight. Up next is the weather forecast. Good night and God bless.
At Spar, we believe every child deserves that new school shoes feeling. So we have partnered with Barter to have thousands of pairs of new school shoes available at Spar. Buy a pair of Barter school shoes for only 40 emalangeni when you spend 500 emalangeni or more. Exclusive to Spar.